Well, it was considered a conspiracy theory, but now U.S. officials are starting to give credence to that lab leak theory. That's the theory suggesting COVID-19 originated in a Chinese lab in Wuhan. The Wall Street Journal was the first to report officials at the Energy Department now believe a leak was the most likely explanation for what happened with the origins of COVID-19, backing up similar assessments by the FBI. Despite that reporting, the White House is walking back some of those statements. Take a listen.
What the president wants is facts. He wants the whole government designed to go get those facts. And that's what we're doing. And we're just not there yet.
Joining us this morning to talk more about it, Robert Daly. He is the director of the Kissinger Center Institute of China and the U.S. at the Wilson Center. Thank you for giving us some of your time this morning. So characterized as low confidence, there's obviously folks in the White House who are disputing the origins. How significant is this Energy Department update and assessment?
It's really not very significant. 9 different U.S. government agencies have looked at this. The FBI, as you mentioned, has moderate confidence that it may have been a lab leak. The Department of Energy has now said that it has low confidence that it may have been a lab leak. But there are 4 other American government agencies that have looked at this closely, who come down the other side of the line, although again with low confidence. They say they have low confidence that it was what was called zoonotic transmission, which means natural transmission from bats via some intermediate animal to human beings. So really, we've moved with low confidence energy from one side of the ledger to the other, but nothing has really changed. The truth is that we don't know.
And I guess the truth is also that we have pretty low confidence that we'll ever know.
We will probably never know for the reason that China will never cooperate in letting it be known. China itself probably isn't certain about where this came from. And this gives us a major policy dilemma, because we have been insisting correctly that China allow an international, objective, thorough scientific examination into the origins of COVID so that we can understand and protect people. And that's a correct position. The dilemma is, as long as we're insisting on that investigation, which China will not give, we cannot cooperate with China to understand and prevent or manage the next pandemic, which might very well also emerge from China. And so what do you do? At what point do you say, okay, we're going to give China a pass that it doesn't deserve on this pandemic in order to be ready for the next pandemic? And that's a very hard question to answer.
Right. And there's so much more at stake, right? There's a lot of layers to the relationship between the U.S. and China right now. So how does this latest development, even if there isn't much there, impact pretty tight tensions?
It is an additional minor annoyance to China. Every time this comes up, they say that we're politicizing the issue, and they say implausibly that the answer should be based on science and not American politicization. There's nothing political about the Energy Department's decision here, and it is China that has prevented a scientific investigation into the origins of COVID. So it's a minor annoyance for China, but there are so many major annoyances from Beijing's point of view in the relationship now that this is really just a blip, and it's very much of a piece in what's become a fairly ferocious competition, including a rhetorical competition with the United States.
Right. It just further strains things. So, Robert, you've got the balloon controversy, the Chinese spy balloon that the U.S. shot down, the potential that we're hearing for China to supply Russia with weapons as it invades Ukraine. Is this the lowest point in terms of U.S.-China relations that we've seen since the 1970s?
Yes, we established, it was President Carter who, after Nixon had laid the foundation, established full diplomatic relations with China in 1979. This is the lowest point in relations, but that was true before the spy balloon, and it was true before this intelligence finding that China may be considering sending weapons to Russia. So we were really already there.
Economically speaking, who has more to lose if this relationship goes further sideways, the U.S. or China?
It's a tough call. We both have a tremendous amount to lose, and the rest of the world will also lose if the U.S. and China go from what is emerging as a kind of new Cold War footing into outright conflict. China is the world's #1 trading nation. It is a major source of investment. It is a major market. It is a major source of lending, as is the United States. The Donald Trump trade war with China largely failed. Our imports from China have continued to increase, as has our deficit. So Americans rely on China not only for low-cost goods that could be replaced, albeit at a higher cost, but we also rely on China for things that we must have, like critical minerals, rare earths, medicines and medical precursors, legacy semiconductors. So we have a great ability to harm each other as this relationship goes forward or goes backward. And much of the rest of the world is also vested in how we manage it.
Robert Daly, director of the Kissinger Center Institute of China and the U.S. at the Wilson Center. Appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.